Race weekend number 3 of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, this time at Slovakia Ring. Warm welcome from my side. My name is Lena Vennemars and I'm very happy to be back for this exciting race, international race. The guys are ready to race and also is Steffi. For now it's quite before the storm because the qualifying is about to start in like a couple of minutes. And of course, as always, I'm not alone because my lovely commentator, Chas Dracott, is in the house as well. For everyone who's speaking German, Joachim Eberts is in the house. Guten Morgen an dieser Stelle. And of course, we have Fonsi C for the Spanish crowd. So enjoy the weekend. I hope it's going to be an exciting one and see you in a sec.
Yes, thank you very much, Lena. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the third race weekend in 2025 for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. My name is indeed Chas Dracott. Delighted to be back once again for another race weekend. And as you can see, it's lovely and sunny here at the Slovakia Ring this weekend. It's a circuit that's given us some very mixed weather in the past, so the drivers and their teams are always casting their eyes to the skies. We've had it be 40 degrees in the past and other times absolutely bucket it down. Let's have a look at some highlights, though, shall we, of what happened last time out when the series made its very first appearance at the Lausitz Ring in Germany. It was a late addition to the calendar in 2025, but it was certainly an exciting race meeting all the same. Very different to what drivers had expected, and a circuit that posed a lot of challenges based on inexperience more than anything. Not many drivers had raced these trucks around there before, and none had really raced anything around there before. Norbert Kisch was on form, taking the lead from Jochen Hahn in the early stages of the first race of the weekend after Jochen took his first, what we called merit pole position in a few years from Norbert Kisch. There were some great battles with Steffi Halm, usually at the front, making sure that she defended positions, taking another podium to add to her fantastic campaign. And René Reiner and his team were certainly excited as well. René's partner getting really worked up in the pit lane over all of the great racing action. Norbert Kisch took the first race win of the weekend over Jochen Hahn, who was having a good laugh as always, and Steffi Halm was certainly on form. But everybody in the paddock was looking forward to every single race just to see what new developments there may be as the season went on. Stefan Faas was back on track again in the wonderful Freightliner that he has this season. And we saw a really wonderful display from Mark Taylor in the second race. Despite this little mistake, Mark held on very well ahead of the rest of the pack and defended brilliantly. But René Reiner started to make his way through the order and would eventually take the overall race lead. Mark Taylor would hold on for the win in the Chrome class, but René Reiner would hold on at the front while Norbert Kisch struggled to get through and passed Jochen Hahn. René being the first driver other than Norbert Kisch to win a race this season, and his first win after a number of years out of the sport. It was lovely to see it, a very heartwarming moment, and René was absolutely over the moon. It was great to see. We all returned for Sunday, not knowing what to expect, as there was a little bit of rain on the horizon. Slightly darker conditions, but still fantastic humour all the same throughout the paddock. And every tiny adjustment led up to the first race of the day with nerves on the line. We had yellow flag starts all throughout the weekend because of the tight turn 1 and 2x2 nature of these trucks. But it was Norbert Kisch that once again led the way from the front. Stefan Faas, unfortunately, having yet more technical issues with this Freightliner. We really do hope to see it in true fighting form before the season is done. Bradley Smith fought well in the Chrome class as Jose Eduardo Rodriguez had a tough time. Again, led to further issues later on in the day for those guys, but they would fix it by the time the weekend was done. René Reiner once again making the moves, overtaking Antonio Albacete just there, while Norbert Kisch continued on a winning streak. The unfortunate part of the weekend, though, was the cancellation of the final race. There was adverse conditions, there was potential oil on the circuit as well from an earlier race, and that meant that we could not go racing for the fourth and final time at the Lausitz Ring. So we've completed 7 races so far this season. No maximum points for anybody now, after Norbert Kisch finishing in 6th place in round number 6. But we're back here at the Slovakia Ring for another race meeting. We have this wonderful machine, the Ford F-Max, the official truck of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, in the paddock, ready to go. You'll be seeing a different iteration of this machine later on in the weekend. We also have the delightful electric Iveco SE-Way, our electric pace truck for this season. This pace truck appears at all of the circuits that it can drive to from its home base as a display of the range and the versatility of this machine. Iveco, one of the partners of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and we're very excited to see what the weekend holds. Let's have a look at the circuit itself then. It's one of the most unique ones on the calendar. It's the newest circuit on the calendar as well, built throughout 2008 and 2009. It is the longest track on the calendar at nearly 6 kilometers. Just 14 turns though, but they are long, large radius turns, and they really do provide a big challenge for the tyres on these machines. They give us nearly 3-minute lap times around here at Slovakia Ring. We usually have around 12 laps in our races in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, but here we go for 8-lap races from what I can remember. The circuit itself, though, is a huge challenge, and especially with the limit on the speed of these trucks, it means that the cornering ability and the sort of stability of the truck itself is more important than anything here. Top speed and acceleration, not too important, because at the end of the day, they all get to that same top speed. It's all about your confidence and commitment through the twisty bits. Just 23 degrees at the moment, but I say that it's not even 10 a.m. at the Slovakia Ring. Fortunately, I'm in a nice cool office back in the UK, so it's not too hot in here at the moment. A little bit of rain outside, actually, as well, which I'm sure some of the drivers and teams would be grateful for with the way the weekend is going. You can see there's some GT3 and Porsche Cup cars and things amongst the paddock as well, ready to share the circuit with us. You can see Jochen Hahn making his way down the paddock there. Stefan Faas has just made his way down as well. And look how wide the start-finish straight is here at the Slovakia Ring. It's similarly built to an airfield, effectively. It's got a humongous sort of main runway section like this, and then there is the narrower, twisty parts of the circuit. You can see, actually, there was some black marks on the start-finish straight a moment ago. That's where they've been doing some drag racing down the start-finish straight here. It is that longer start-finish straight, but lovely shots from the drone. I wonder if we turn around far enough, we may see those marks, but no. Norbert Kish at the end of the pit lane, ready to get out there onto the circuit. Just to reiterate with the format for qualifying here in this championship, it's 3 sessions on the beginning of each day. So we have qualifying 1 today, qualifying 2 tomorrow, and within them, we have Q1, 2, and 3. Q1 is a 15-minute session, which will have all of our trucks out on the circuit. Q2 will then be the top 12 from the first session. They go out for 10 minutes, and then we whittle it down to just the top 6 for a 5-minute session, which here means that they will only get 1 fast lap on the board. Stefan Faas making his way into the pit lane there. There's Antonio Albacetti's number 23 T-Sport Burnau machine. Steffi Halm lines up in 3rd position at the end of the pit lane. They will head out in championship order. Steffi currently on 65 points, 9 ahead of René Reinert. Steffi having a great start to the championship, though, with 4 podiums and 2 fourth places. Let's head back down there on the ground and speak to Lena.
And hopefully Stefan Faas, who's finally back on track. I'm very, very delighted to see him. So lovely, him and his truck. See, he's already crossing his fingers. Because we said every time we speak, it's kind of its chinks. There's something going on with his truck. So I don't know if I should dare to ask him at least one question or just let him go. What I can tell you so far, he had the biggest smile on his face when he knew that his truck was finally ready to race, and like on detail ready to race. I know you have seen him the past 2 race weekends constantly taking his truck apart again, because it's a brand new race truck. So they're like these little baby diseases that need to be taken out to be ready to like finally race. And I at least want to see a thumb up from him that he's ready. See, he loves the engine, and I'm not talking to him. Maybe it will be like a lucky moment for him and for this qualifying to finally fight in the front, because he's a very good race car driver. He used to drive cars beforehand. He went to drag racing, and he told me sitting in this truck is more like close to driving a car than a truck. So he really loves sitting in there. And now we let him go in a second. Oh, so much stress going on over here. Come on, guys, it's only the qualifying. Look at that. Look how stressed they all are. Okay, so Chess, back to you. Let the qualifying games begin. Qualifying number 1 for this race weekend.
Thank you, Lena. It's all busy stuff down there in the pit lane as everybody heads out onto the circuit then. This is the first test of these machines for the weekend, really. They've had practice and warm-up and so on, but this is the first televised one, and this is the first one that could potentially contribute to points in the championship, and as we all know, points mean prizes. They go out in championship order, as mentioned. They will all have a slower sort of out lap and installation lap just to get things up to the right temperature. You can just see in the background there, one of the interesting features of this circuit is that I mentioned it's airfield-like nature earlier on. It's actually built right next to an air museum as well, a military museum. There's a lot of aircraft, helicopters, and from what I remember, a massive missile that's right next to the barriers on the edge of the circuit. It's a very interesting thing to see. You'll see some of the helicopters and things as we round the final corner over the weekend. It's hard to keep my AvGeek knowledge away, I'm afraid, sorry. But we have a wonderful mix of drivers and teams again this weekend. We have 15 out on circuit at the moment. Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn, Steffi Helm, Rene Reiner, Antonio Albacetti, Sasha Lenz, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Mark Taylor, Bradley Smith, Stefan Fass, Clemens Hecker, Louis Requenco, John Newell, Luke Garrett and Christian Ruppert. We have a great field this season, one of the biggest that we've had in recent years of full-time entries. We also have race-by-race entrants that join us for certain rounds of the championship. There is John Newell and Luke Garrett, two drivers that have raced in the British Championship for a long time and made the jump up to the European Series now. They've both been very complimentary of the championship and just how wonderful it is to be a part of it since joining. You can hear the wonderful sounds of these machines revving up and getting going on the exit of these hairpins. There is Clemens Hecker. Clemens had an interesting time at the Lausitz Ring. Third place in class in the first race, but then a DNF in race 2, lost all power, and then a fourth place in the third race of the weekend. Obviously no fourth race. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez had a tough time as well, finishing 11th on the first race on day 2. He unfortunately had to change a gearbox during qualifying, so started near the back of the grid, started making his way up the order, but then unfortunately had an issue where he was losing water and the temperatures were rising, so he couldn't race at full chat. Lovely shots from the drone though this weekend. You get an idea of the machine's scale to the circuit. They are huge racing machines, these trucks. I mean, it doesn't take me telling you for you to all know that, but at the same time you can see just how wide they are and how wide this circuit is in comparison. Look at that. Norbert Kish then heads across the line, begins his first qualifying lap of the weekend here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And he heads down into turn 1, a very high-speed corner. You won't see much heavy braking from them. You won't see the nose of the trucks dipping down very far in those sorts of moments. Over the crest of the hill they go, down towards turn 2. Another really long sweep here, barely even 90 degrees this one. And then they go hard onto the brakes into turn 3, which is the hairpin. Not easy at all, this circuit. That's the thing, is like I said before, it's all about making sure that you are good in the twisty sections, because here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, the machines are all limited or governed to the same top speed. But it's Norbert Kish leading them around at the moment. And it looks nice and tidy at this present moment, doesn't it? That's the thing. And another wonderful thing about this circuit is just how tidy it always looks when the drivers make their way around because of the huge circumference of these corners. It really makes it look nice and smooth, but I imagine it's not quite the same when you are behind the wheel. Up over the crest again into one of the most important corners on the circuit, actually, which is turn 10. This place is a very big, heavy braking zone. And then they go through turn 11 and 12, which is the right-left that they're going around there. It's almost like a 180-degree right-hander. But then they can't quite use it as a hairpin as such because they are basically accelerating through that entire moment. Norbert Kish now leads us round the final corner. And across the line he will go. It's a 4-minute outlap. And it's a 2:42.837 to get us started. Not far off, though, Jochen Hahn. And Steffi Halm goes even quicker. René Reinert goes even quicker than that. And then Albacete as well. Wow, everybody going in reverse order almost there. Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn only separated by 24 thousandths of a second. Albacete goes faster. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has just gone second fastest as well. But look at that. Nearly a 3-minute lap. And the top 6 are separated by just over a tenth of a second. That's incredibly close. Albacete has gone quickest. There's been a potential investigation into black smoke from the number 29 machine, which is Christian Ruppert, unfortunately. He's having a bit of a tough initiation into the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. But he's here for a good time, and he's certainly having that. I mean, every time that we see him, he seems to have a big old smile on his face, so he's definitely a happy boy, that's for sure. This man will be right now. Antonio Albacete had a bit of a difficult start to the season, but every time we've spoken to Tim Frost and the team, he said that Lady Luck is not quite on his side, so to speak. But hopefully now that all changes. But it's amazing, isn't it? 0.13 of a second between the top 6 drivers. Then there's 1.1 seconds back to Louis Requenco, who is the fastest in the Chrome class at the moment. Mark Taylor is next up in 8th place. Then it's Bradley Smith. John Newell inside the top 10 as well, ahead of Luke Garrett and Sasha Lenz, not having a great first lap there. Sasha will definitely want to improve on that one. There will be a number of drivers here that, of course, try and stay out on the circuit and improve where possible. Just looking down the times at the individual sectors, and it just looks like it's all just consistent times from everybody. There's no particular standout sectors that are ridiculously quick compared to anybody else. It's all very similar. It's amazing to see. We look there at Bradley Smith. Bradley currently finds himself second in the Chrome Class Championship. He got a first, second and a third on the podium in class at the Lausitzring. Mark Taylor getting a second and 2 first places has meant that he's extended his championship lead to 9 points. But Bradley, out of 8 races this season, has been on the podium in his class 5 times. 3 of them being second places as well. He's been so quick, so consistent. And we really saw him using his head at the Lausitzring as well, because there was a lot of times where he could have had a fight with some of the Titan drivers instead of, you know, worrying about the Chrome drivers. But what he did was just play it safe, and he allowed a number of the Titan drivers through. He didn't put up too much of a fight, but he still made it difficult for them because he was trying to maintain his own pace. But he was really using his head, was Bradley, and made sure that he didn't have his race ruined by an unnecessary fight, and he still got second place in the Chrome class on that occasion, with Mark Taylor, who we see on screen just there, going on to take the class victory. Mark is currently leading the championship. He's had only first and second places in class when he's finished the races, but he had 2 DNFs at Misano that really upset the rhythm. We had quite a lot of DNFs at Misano, actually, especially in that second race on Sunday. Albacete, Mark Taylor, Luke Garrett, Stefan Faas and Christian Ruppert not making it to the flag. Is Clemens Hecker, currently third place in the Chrome Championship on 63 points, 22 behind Mark Taylor. But his main competitor at the moment is John Newell. John is only 3 points behind him in the standings. And here is the moment that a lot of us expected. It's the drivers heading into the pit lane that have set decent enough lap times to get inside the top 12 and get up into qualifying 2. You can see everybody down to 9th position has now come into the pit lane. They don't need to overdo it on the tyres. They don't need to raise the temperatures too much. Bradley Smith brings the very striking Don't Touch Racing Iveco into its box as the ever-striking Scania of Clemens Hecker makes its way around. I think he's trying to maybe stay out of the way of Sasha Lenz now, who's on a fast lap. Sasha currently 12th at the moment. It's not like him at all. There were many times last season where we had trucks 1, 2 and 3, which was Norbert Kirsch-Jochenhahn and Sasha Lenz, in positions 1, 2 and 3. So this is out of the ordinary here for Sasha. We just wait now to see when the lap times come through and if they are of any threat to further positions. And we're going to go back down into the paddock. Apparently we have an interview waiting.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how like the qualifying number 1 is taken by some drivers. Some, you can tell, they do like 3 laps, they go with the flow, and then they take whatever they have, and others are fighting for more. And Bradley, you're having a close fight to Mr. Taylor right now. So do you have any specific plan in qualifying where to end up, or like what time you really want to hit?
Yeah, no, it's just try and be at the front of the Chrome pack really, and go from there. It's our first ever time here, so still learning the track and everything, but yeah, no, it's great. I'm really enjoying it, so hopefully we'll get through to Q2 and then hopefully come out at the top of the Chrome pack. That's the plan.
How much do you like Slovakia? Just as you mentioned, it's the first time over here, so of course others who have been here like for years, they might have an advantage, but how do you feel on it?
Yeah, no, it's good. It was good yesterday because we could do like press rides and stuff like that, so I had a good few hours out on track to learn it, so that gave me a lot of confidence and for today. And you know, I love the track. It's crazy, so fast, slow corners, bit of everything. It's very technical, so yeah, it's great. I really enjoy it.
All right, so I'll let you go again for the next qualifying to come, or the next laps to come, of course, of the next qualifying. Let's see if I can catch maybe Steffi or someone quickly, because they only have a couple of minutes before they are heading back out. And I just happened to speak to the wife of Christian Ruppert, and I was like, why is there always black smoke? And she's like, well, if you have a very nervous gas pedal and you push once too much, sometimes it might be the black smoke. So I was like, okay, we have to speak to Christian and maybe we will find a way how we can cool him down just to like defend the black smoke. And let's see how Steffi is doing, having a quick drink over here. How are you feeling today? The last weekend before it's birthday time again, I just heard. How are you?
Yeah, for the moment everything is okay. We are struggling a little bit here on the circuit, so I hope we can make a good result for the qualifying. Till now everything is like planned, but we will see in Q2 if it's enough for Q3.
Yeah, we just said you have very, very strong races ever since we started out the season. You always stay cool even under pressure. So did you change something in your mindset, or is this just you having done so many racing for so many years that you just don't care anymore what's going on around you?
You know, I'm still focused like all the time before, but you know, it's like a little bit like a flow. So, you know, you go out and it works, the combination, the truck, the team and me, it fits well. and this is the result of it.
All right, so let's hope she will have some pre-birthday presents this weekend. Talking about trophies on your shelf, good luck for the next qualifying, and Chas, back to you. And there's the...
Thank you so much, Lena. Great to hear from Bradley Smith and Steffi Halm. Yes, it's Steffi's birthday very soon, and she will be hoping for another birthday podium, at least this race weekend. 4 podiums so far this season for Steffi. And Bradley, as he was saying, it's his first time here at the Slovakia Ring, but certainly enjoying it. It's a very unique circuit, and it's one that, funnily enough, a lot of people haven't really heard of, to be honest. It was very famously used in the Gran Turismo movie that came out just last year. A lot of the scenes were shot here. I've heard many a story. I spoke to a wonderful racing driver by the name of David Perel, who a lot of people might know, and he enlightened us to some of the methods and things used. Because they have a sprinkler system here at the Slovakia Ring, because of how dry it can get, they were able to simulate a lot of rain around the track. They did a lot of the night racing shots here as well, and it became quite the location for a lot of the filming for the movie. With its wide open nature as well, it's easy to, well, make it look like any other circuit as well. There is our reigning champion and current championship leader, Norbert Kisch, with 6 race victories out of 7 races so far this season. And having won the last 8 races here at the Slovakia Ring, he's certainly in a confident position ahead of this round. He's got a lot of fans here as well. They make the journey over from Hungary to Slovakia. No Hungarian round of the championship again, unfortunately, in 2025 due to the ongoing works at the circuit. But this is certainly, if there is one particular round of the championship where all of Norby's fans flood in to see him, this is the one. I can even see a Macedonian flag up there in the grandstands, which is interesting. I wonder whether that's from, it looks like it's from the podium, so I believe maybe one of the previous races. There are a few other championships on the circuit with us here this weekend. And it looks like the trucks going through are Antonio Albacete, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Rene Reinert, Steffi Halm, Norbert Kisch, Jochen Hahn, Sasha Lenz eventually improved, Louis Requenco, Stefan Faas, which is good to see, Mark Taylor, Bradley Smith and John Newell. The drivers that will not go through into Q2, Luke Garrett, Clemens Hecker and Christian Ruppert. We're going to go back into the pit lane with Lena. She's with Jochen Hahn.
Jochen Hahn and his crew, his family, his wife, his everything, because like motorsports, the mechanics are like the family as well. There has to be a lot of trust and yeah, nice relationships to do a steady job, as we heard from Steffi. How are you doing today? Are you taking it smoothly or what's going on? You have to push a little more, Jochen.
No, you know, on the first 10 drivers and also the girl Steffi knows we have 3 qualifications. And from this side, everybody go a little bit, I must go out, but yeah, everybody's clever enough to go slowly in the first 3 tours.
I let you go. Let's do the Jochen magic that he really is able to do. They were so close in qualifying number 1, so let's see what the second round brings. Chas, back to you.
Thanks, Lena. Cheers, Jochen. Great to hear from him, as always. And yeah, as he said, he's got to crack on. They know that it's 3 sessions, so the fact that we had Norbert Kisch 5th and Jochen Hahn in 6th, whereas they're normally the pairing that take up the front row, it was certainly not anything for them to worry about. You can see the pit marshals trying to pass the message on from one another down here. Interesting to see pit marshals that aren't wearing bright orange or high vises, though. They're all in these white t-shirts with jeans on. It's a strange layout. It just looks like we've got people everywhere in this pit lane trying to organise the drivers one by one. They're trying to get them out in order, basically, because they have to go out in this second session in the order they just finished the first one. So now they call for Louis Requenco next up. Stefan Faas should be the next one to be brought forward. He's just in front of John Newell there in the pit lane. And as you can see on the board on the right-hand side, this is a 10-minute session, this one, so less time to get the job done this time round. And then the top 6 will move on into a final session for just 5 minutes. And let me tell you, at a circuit where an outlap is nearly 4 minutes, when it's at reduced speed, that makes for a very spicy session. We have a lot of circuits where the drivers and teams can go and they get 2 laps on the board in that final Q3 session. But here, not so much. You can see the heat, though, making its way across the circuit. I believe we still have Christian Ruppert and Luke Garrett on the circuit. They're both out there just on their in-laps now to come back into the pit lane. They'll be in any moment's time now. But look how packed everything is into the pit lane there, with the grandstand right above it as well. It's a great setup there at the Slovakia ring. There's a lot of circuits around the world where there is a viewing area on top of the pit lane and the pit buildings, but none that I really know of that are quite as close as the one here at the Slovakia ring. It's great to see, especially when the trucks come to town. Because of the height of these machines, you get even closer to them than ever before. There is everybody lining up then in the pit lane. Sascha Lenz will be hoping to do bigger things in this session. He didn't have the easiest of times in that first Q1 session. Ended up in 7th place. For a while, he was actually sat in 12th position with nowhere to go, but then did improve in the end. It just took his time and a couple of attempts to get that improvement. But an interesting top 4, though. Antonio Albacete, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, René Reinert, and Steffi Halm. Very interesting top 4 indeed. And we just wait now for the flag to drop. Apparently, it's going to be 10:08 local time when the session begins, so it should be any moment now, actually, as it's nearly 10:08. And then everybody will head out onto the track. As you can see, there is the drone with which we're getting all of the wonderful shots here this weekend. Fantastic weather conditions, though, so far. There is the siren to let them know that the session is now underway. And the field will head out onto the circuit. And Q2 begins here at the Slovakia ring. So we have Antonio Albacete leading Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. René Reinert next up, took a race victory at the Lausitz ring. Steffi Halm in the Iveco. Norbert Kisch, reigning champion and current championship leader. Jochen Hahn just behind him, 6 championships apiece for those guys. Sascha Lenz in the number 3 MAN next up. Then Louis Requenco, Stefan Fass, Mark Taylor, Bradley Smith and John Newell. Almost sounds like a helicopter making its way around the circuit there as the cylinders all sort of fire in line with one another. And Sascha Lenz is certainly... He puts himself under quite a lot of pressure, does Sascha. He's been a front runner in the championship for many years now, but it's been a while since he took an outright race victory. And I know that he will want to uphold the honour of the team and their recent performances by getting back into that rhythm. And they'll, of course, want to get some strong results on the board for his good friend Steve Miller, who he so tragically lost earlier on in the season. And yeah, everybody still thinks of Steve every day. He was a wonderful character to have around the paddock, and he has been a huge loss for the paddock, but I'm sure that he'll be watching over and enjoying the racing still with the huge smile on his face that he always had. There is Stefan Fass, truck 24, just behind Louis Requenco. Those two have had some good old scraps in the past in the Chrome class. if I'm honest, on a brutal level, it's lovely just to see that Freightliner running, to be honest. They've had nothing but trouble with it. But as Stefan said to us at Misano at the start of the season, you don't get a chance to go and test these things a lot of the time. You know, you just have to get the truck built, hope that it all works, and then put it through a race weekend, really put it through its paces. And that's the first opportunity that you get to see what it's really capable of. It's not like you can just go to any old track day and throw these trucks around. There's very different procedures to running these machines on track. We now have the green flags waving and everybody building up the speed then. We wait now to see who can get the best lap on the board here. Interesting to see that they're in a different order, of course. That's based on the first session. So they go out in the order that they finished that one in. And now Antonio Albacete heads round the final corner, builds it up, takes a bit of a wider line, tries to get the run. And flies down the start-finish straight. Followed by Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, René Reinert and Steffi Halm. Look at the spacing that they've got between them now to make sure that they have as much clear air as they can. Over the crest of the hill goes Antonio Albacete. Three-time champion of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is Antonio. 2005, 2006 and 2010. I'm sure he and the team would love to add another one to that tally. Lovely looking truck this season for the team as well, with the dark blue and the yellow and red. Nice and tidy this lap so far, isn't it? Very tidy looking run. Into the hairpin they go. Interesting that we've got a camera on the inside of this hairpin this year. We very often have had the camera on the outer position of that corner, but it's great to see it from the inside line this time round. Antonio looks like he's pushing quite hard actually in this later sector. You can see as they just run wide on the exit of turn 12. Sorry, that was over the crest actually, down towards turn 10. I do apologise. It looked like it was the same corner, didn't it, for a moment there? I thought we went back to a replay. It's hard to get used to having that camera on the inside down there. But Antonio now over the final crest. Interesting artificial crests here at the Slovakia ring. It is a very flat circuit, but the construction of the circuit was done in such a way that they added these crests in just to try and add a little bit more elevation to it, but they all happen in a straight line, so it doesn't really add too much of a challenge, whereas places like Zolder and the Nürburgring and, well, a lot of circuits we go to, like Jarama, for example, have these huge undulating moments mid-corner. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has just gone 0.2 of a second faster than Albacete. René Reinert goes a tenth of a second faster than Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Steffi Halm goes 4th fastest. What can Norbert Kish put on the board? He goes fastest by nearly 0.9 of a second. Jochen Hahn, 6.5 off that. Sascha Lenz, 1.2 seconds off. He goes 6th fastest for the moment. Next up across the line should be Louis Requenco. He goes 8th ahead of Stefan Fass. 1.5 and 1.9 seconds off, respectively. That's a much more convincing lap for Norbert Kish compared to what we saw from him in Q1. Bradley Smith and Mark Taylor both having pretty poor first laps there. 2.1 seconds and 2.5 off. John Newell as well, not having a lap to write home about. 2.9 seconds down. Let's not forget, though, that as a lap is longer, the gaps between them are usually more exaggerated. If you have a circuit, you know, when you see it in maybe Formula or GT racing, if you have a circuit that's barely a minute long, you'll have a lot of cars and drivers within a second of each other. You know, we've had it in the past in one of my favourite series, the British Touring Car Championship. They head to the Silverstone National Circuit every year, and even with 26, sometimes 32 cars, the whole field can be separated by less than a second. It's amazing. So here at the Slovakia ring, with it being nearly 3 minutes a lap, the gaps are going to be a little bit more exaggerated. It's all relative when it comes to timed gaps in motorsport. Lap, it's not often that you see them do 2 laps in a row at full speed, but really they don't have much choice in this Q2 session, because at the end of the day it's such a long lap that they can only get 2 of them in, 2 fast laps anyway, in a 10-minute session because of the almost 4-minute warm-up lap they do. René Reiner is maybe in the way a little bit there. He was trying to stay out of the way and go over to the right-hand side. It was probably safer for him to stay there than it was to risk cutting across to the left a little bit too late. Mark Taylor will push like mad now to try and get an improvement on that first time. Same with Bradley Smith. You can see him almost chasing him down. It was quite the metaphor for their championship at the moment. Bradley in second on his first appearance ever here at the Slovakia ring as well. Not sure if he's visited before, but this is his first racing appearance here. Stefan Faas will also want to improve. He's 9th fastest at the moment, with potential to be closer to that top 6, but it looks like the Freightliner's running nicely at the moment. Touch wood. There's Mark Taylor with him. These guys are hoping for whatever they can get here. Every 10th of a second matters to try and move themselves up the order. If they stay out of the top 6 now, that's where they will stay. Across the line goes Stefan Faas. It was an improvement for... No, it was not an improvement for Mark Taylor, actually. A 2:45.4 for him. No improvement that time round. So Taylor out of the top 6. Checkered flag waves, but I don't know if Stefan Faas got over in time there, actually. I was just keeping my eye on the timing screen. Have they got one more opportunity here to get across? Bradley Smith stays in 10th place. John Newell stays in 12th. The 6 going through at the moment are Norbert Kiss, Jochen Hahn, René Reiner, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Antonio Albacetti and Sasha Lenz. Steffi Halm, for I think the first time this season, will not be going through into Q3 with things how they are. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez putting in a much better performance here. He seemingly has struggled a little bit against some of the Titan drivers in qualifying earlier on in the championship. So it's good to see him find that pace. And we're going to go into the pit lane actually and speak to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yes, his mother is there as well, long-time racing family, and he's done a great job. He really seems... You really like Slovakia ring, huh? Fast lap.
Yeah, I like the track and... sorry. I like the track and I feel good in the truck and the track. And we'll see what's happening in the qualify.
He's a very strong driver, still in Chrome. No, you're tighter now. So yeah, new gloves for him as well. So good luck for you. Keep pushing. I really like to see him smile. Like his father has been there, his grandfather has been there, and he has so much family support. So it's really lovely to see them around. And I also like Antonio Albacete, who had bad moods in Misano, then lost the string. I think he went back to good. And now he's finally back to pushing and how we know him. And let's see how satisfied he is. They're still like looking at the timing. Of course, he's very eager to be in the front. So yeah, he wants to be quick and fast. And I think I let him in his bubble. Like you can see the eyes, they're still zoomed into qualifying mode. So I don't want to disturb it over here. Yeah, next qualifying is gonna start pretty soon. Top 5 to come. René Reinhardt, maybe we catch him in a second or later on before the race starts. I really want to speak back to him because he had such strong races. He has not been racing for 3 years. Over there is Balou Senior in blue now, not red anymore. And this guy, he really knows how to race. He had such a smooth moment so far in 2025. So I think we will speak to him later on. Chas, back to you.
Thank you, Lena. Very good to hear from our drivers. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, like I say, back into the top 6. There is the 5th wheel on these machines, the 100% HVO Total Energies 5th wheel. Something that I find very entertaining about these machines, as I have said many a time, the irony of having something that looks like it would be an aerodynamic aid of such small size on such a huge machine is rather ironic in a way, but it's a lovely little addition and a great way to show off one of the great partnerships that we have here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We do, of course, have the Ford F-Max as the official truck. We have Goodyear as the title sponsor of the series and the provider of all of these tyres. They've also got a new 55% sustainable material tyre that has made its debut this year. Other partnerships include Iveco, Alcoa, who make the wheels as well, I can't remember the name. The alloy wheels, sorry. Krona, also, the trailer brand. Fantastic, wonderful company, Krona. They're always good fans of mine as well. And I know and hope that Simon Rickenhagen will be knocking about in the paddock somewhere over the course of the season. We have Yoast on board as a partner as well, a logo that you can see on the side of Sasha Lenz's machine. And also Eurowag as well, who have joined us for the 2025 season. The series doing a wonderful job to bring these partners on board and maintain very healthy working relationships with these brands that not only feed back into the truck racing, but also into the industry itself. So now Norbert Kish makes his way down towards the end of the pit lane. He really made a statement in Q2 there, taking pole position by nearly 9/10 of a second over René Reinhardt before Jochen Hahn swooped into second place and was just 6.5 of a second off. Norbert Kish asked just to move over to the left-hand side slightly. I believe that's just in case they need to, for whatever reason, get another vehicle past. So it'll be just the 6 of them that will be heading out into Q3. Final session of the morning. And later on today, don't forget, we have 2 race broadcasts still coming up as well on each day in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We have a qualifying and 2 races. The race 1 broadcast will be from 12 local time, and 10 to 3 will be race 2 local time. Tomorrow we're back bright and early at 10:15 in the morning for qualifying, 1:05 for race 3, and then 3:30 in the afternoon for race 4, the final encounter of the weekend here at the Slovakia ring. It's always an interesting moment for me, because whenever I'm commentating from the UK, I have to take an hour off or add an hour on with the time differences to the circuit. Currently just 25 past 9 in the morning here back in the UK. And now you can hear the siren and the trucks make their way out onto the circuit. So Q3, very important here, especially at the Slovakia ring, as it is such a long lap. Sometimes they can barely get an outlap in. They actually have to be quite quick on their outlap to make sure that they cross the line in time. You won't see them dawdling half as much as we see them when they are in Q1 and Q2. You can see a little bit more urgency in them already, can't you, as they head around? So in this session, we have Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn, René Reinhardt, Antonio Albacete, who we see there, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, and Sasha Lenz. Big hitters from the championship for the last few years. Apart from René Reinhardt, actually, who of course makes his return to the championship after a few years away. It was very fitting that he was the first non-Norbert Kish driver to take the victory this season. Now they all make their way through the middle sector of the lap. It really is quite a challenging circuit, though, and a lot of the drivers will always tell you that there's certain parts of this place that look the same, actually. It's quite funny how very often is the case with a lot of these newer flat circuits. There's a lot of different layouts of this place as well. There's what they call tracks 1 through 6. Track 1 sort of cuts into the infield a little bit earlier, and it's funny because a lot of these layouts go in the opposite direction to the one we're using today as well. They have reverse layouts of each of them as well. There's lots. This one is known as Track 4, which is the 5.9 kilometre layout of the circuit. Some of them are even longer. The Track 4 with chicane layout goes to just under 6 kilometres as well. Basically, when they get to turn 9, they have another chicane added in, basically. That is down at turn number 10, where René Reiner is now. Makes his way around 11 and 12 up over the crest, heading to turn 14. It's a busy old lap, though, at the same time. You have to really have your wits about you because of, again, these long radius corners. They are corners where the drivers have to continually make adjustments. They'll be on and off the throttle. They'll be feathering the brakes here and there, just trying to make sure that they don't overdo it. And here we go then. Q3 seems a little bit gloomy at that final corner as Norbert Kish heads across the line. Wonderful shot there from our drone as he heads down the colossal start-finish straight at this great racetrack. Jochen Hahn second position, René Reiner at third at the moment. And then Jose Eduardo Rodriguez next up behind them, and Antonio Albacete. Norby heads around turn 1. More than 90-degree radius. That turn 2 starts quite early, actually. You have to start turning over to the right just about now. And it gradually sweeps around. That'll be full speed in these trucks around there. 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometers an hour in a 5-ton racing machine. Over a small crest into turn 3, one of the hardest braking zones on the entire lap. But again, look at the radius of that hairpin. It's almost as if this circuit was built with no idea of the scale in mind. It would have worked even better if it was a slightly smaller and narrower circuit, but everything was just blown out of proportion with this circuit. It's massive, absolutely massive. And one of the interesting things is, as a fan of this place as well, is with the banks and the grandstands around the outside, is that it's got a real arena feel to it, similar to the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia, where from most places where you spectate from the outside of the track, you can see everywhere else on the track as well. You get to see them all. I mean, if we look at Jochen Hahn here, look, you can see trucks going in the opposite direction in the background as well. It always looks like they cross over one another, almost like a karting circuit where there's a perimeter and it goes back in on itself. That's a comparison that you're going to hear me use a lot this weekend, so I'm going to apologise in advance for that. There is René Reiner with the Join Our Team Now branding on the side of the truck for this weekend. Didn't notice that one earlier on. Obviously looking for a bit of help in their European tour with the championship. There's Sasha Lenz, 6th on the road in this session, so he will be the last one to set a time, but by no means least. Norbert Kish now will be heading just up to the final corner, or the penultimate corner anyway, which is turn 13. It's very often known as the last corner here at the Slovakia ring. You can see him really throw it in there, actually. Really working that front left tyre hard. That's the one that takes most of the punishment around here, because you've got corners like, well, turns 1, 2, 3, turn 6 and turn 13, all really long left-handers. Sorry, right-handers. Be good if Chaz knew his right from left, wouldn't it? Across the line then, Norbert Kish, 2:42.191 is a solid lap time. Jochen Hahn nearly half a second off at that point. René Reinert 1.2 seconds off. What about Jose Eduardo Rodriguez? He goes third fastest, just in front of René Reinert. Antonio Albacete crosses the line. He can only manage fifth fastest, can Antonio. After taking pole position by a slight margin earlier, he misses out this time round. What about Sasha Lenz? Will he do better than the Spaniard? He goes third. Sasha Lenz, third fastest. Great stuff from him. 0.732 behind Norbert Kish. But we once again get back to how we remember it with trucks 1, 2 and 3. Positions 1, 2 and 3. And Sasha will be much happier with that qualifying compared to how the first two meetings of his season have gone. So far in 2025, just looking at the standings now, Sasha has mustered just a pair of podiums, third places in race number 2 and race number 6 of the season, which by their standards is not what they're usually after. He wears that number 3 as he has been third in the championship now for the last few years. They know that they can get podiums, but they've only come in the second races of the weekend so far. He'll be hoping to change that a little bit later on. But Norbert Kish takes another pole position, this time by just under half a second. A great effort it was indeed by Norby. And he'll be very, very pleased to have ticked that box as part of their weekend. The Revace Racing squad, almost untouchable in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, but they get the respect of their competitors a lot with how amazing a job they do. And this sort of revised look for Baloo this season is absolutely gorgeous. This is Baloo Junior, this truck. A lot of the drivers and teams name their trucks, as is often the case. But Baloo Senior is part of the field and driven by René Reinert. The blue number 77 is its teammate as well this season. René will line up 5th on the grid after that qualifying session. No lap times deleted or anything as well throughout Q1, 2 and 3 from today. Usually track limits are a bit of a question here at the Slovakia ring. There's trucks often running very wide and pushing the limits of these runoff areas and the curbs. There is Antonio Albacete making his way back in. Not the qualifying session that they would have wanted after being on pole in Q1. Obviously that doesn't amount to anything in the end, unfortunately, but to have been top of the timing sheets would have been a nice little confidence boost for them. But now, being 6th in Q3, not what they would have wanted at all. Antonio is another one that's had a difficult start to his championship, just on the podium once, which he got in race 3 at Misano. He, much like Mark Taylor, got a DNF in races 2 and 4. And we'll have a look at the results of qualifying now that all of the times have been calculated and everything put together. Norbert Kish takes pole position. He is just under half a second ahead of Jochen Hahn, with Sasha Lenz in 3rd place. Trucks 1, 2 and 3. Positions 1, 2 and 3 yet again. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, that's a great return to form for him. He's always gone well around here, actually, at the Slovakia ring. He now ends in 4th position with René Reinert in 5th. Antonio Albacete, as mentioned, maybe not too pleased with that one, ending up in 6th place, bottom of Q3. Steffi Halm didn't make it to Q3 this time. She is the bottom of the Titan drivers after that session, and she will definitely be hoping for more in race number 1 later on. Louis Requenco went fastest in the Chrome class. He'll be really pleased with that. Stefan Faas as well in 2nd place in that class. Bradley Smith, maybe not too happy with 10th position overall, but as he's mentioned, it's his first time here, so obviously still lots to learn and still pace to find. He'll be happy that he's ahead of Mark Taylor, at least, who will end up in 11th place. John Newell and Luke Garrett were just on the brink of making it through. John Newell did make it through into Q2, but didn't improve from there. Luke Garrett joins Clemens Hecker and Christian Ruppert at the tail end of the order after a bit of a difficult session there for Christian, but we know what he's like. He'll continue fighting, he'll continue pushing, and he will have a good time of it no matter what he is doing. There's a look inside the wheel rim of one of Mark Taylor Racing's wheels as they are cleaned up, prepared for later sessions. That's one of the main things about this championship as well. The presentation of the machines and how well kept they are is a really high standard. You know, the whole field is so well polished and looked after. It really is a wonderful thing to see. As you can see, there are the live stream times. We go at 12:20 for race 1 later on today, just going into lunchtime. Race 2 will be just before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, local time to Slovakia. And the number 81 will be back out for that and hoping to gain positions and hold on to his Chrome Championship lead. Just 9 points ahead of Bradley Smith at the moment is Mark Taylor. He'll have a challenge on his hands to ensure that that gap remains of that size. All the trucks now put back into their awnings. There is René Reinert's machine. It's quite the art form to get them all parked in. They have these humongous awnings, though, that are, again, very well presented. Some of the teams have hospitality sections as well for sponsors and partners that arrive at the race meetings. And the centerpiece to it all are these magnificent racing trucks that we get to enjoy as part of the championship. The ever-beautiful Bellew Jr. sits and prepares now for the next session. The Reverse Racing team will give everything a once-over, check pressures, check temperatures after that, and make sure it's all right. Norbert gives the team the debrief after that one.
The hot lap, it doesn't work at finish line and intermediate too. Chaba will come soon, you know, the engineer guy.
So they're talking about something, maybe about the timing there.
And with the kid.
Maybe something about the transponder. We've seen transponder issues for Norbert Kish before. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll get back to you when we come for race 1 later on. I'm going to say goodbye for now, though, and hand back down to Lena. We'll catch you in a bit, everybody.
René Reinhardt, who managed to finish 5th in this third qualifying of this morning. Of course, I think he is taking a break just to fresh up for us, to hopefully tell us a couple of words, because as you already know, I know you have heard it so often, this is Bellew Senior. This is the former car of Norbert Kish. René has not been into the European Championship for a couple of years. He came back, he said he had no time to train, to test at all, so he went back, and obviously it's still in his blood, it's still in his system, doing well. You can come over if you want to. You just had quite a fight or quite a race, but you don't look too bad, and it's quite hot over here, so you're fresh enough for race number 1 to come now.
Yeah, I was only 3 laps now in the qualifying. Every qualifying 1 lap, you know. Long track, not so much time, make a second lap, and also the tires, they are very fast, very hot, so it must come everything in the first lap if you want to have a really good time. So.
Yeah, but you did well.
Yeah, the first and the second stint was good, but the third one, I make a small mistake. Everything's so small together, you know, and if you want a little bit too much to get maybe some tenths more, you know, then you can make also very fast a mistake.
How do you like Slovakia ring? Because it's been a while ever since you have been racing over here, no?
I think it's developed a lot the last years. You know, I was not here 3 years now, but I'm surprised. You know, it's a very nice track. Everything it's around also very nice. So and they try really to make more and more. Also with the event today in the evening. So actually I like it.
Yeah, we have a festival tonight, and come with me for a second, because I discovered something over here also for your fans who will come by later on. I'm pretty sure yesterday there were 3 guys. They were wearing orange t-shirts with the 44 from Steffi Halm, and then the 77 cap from you.
Got to change now, you know.
Where are the socks with the 11 from Bradley Smith? So it's really collecting numbers. Yeah. And you're selling caps, so I brought 20 euros. I will buy a cap from you because I really like them. And they're signed, so of course I want a signed cap. So if you have a chance to come by and you like, I will show them to you. if you have a chance to grab one.
To wear it, the whole
yes,
weekend.
I will.
You don't need
the whole weekend.
You don't need to pay.
It will start raining tomorrow, so I'm ready for whatever's going to come. Then I will donate this.
No, you don't need to pay.
All right. We had a dog yesterday that had to go to the vet, so I will donate it over there. Thank you very much. Well, this is number 77. Watch out for race number 1. 12:20. We are ready. I think you are steady. So, you just take a cold water and refresh. And I see you in a bit for the first live stream of race number 1 of Slovakia Ring this weekend. Dankeschön. Ja, cool.